Welcome to this tutorial about how to handle soil and rock layers inside the Quadri model, and also how you will add these soil layers as a calculation base when you use NovaPoint Road. In this model we have a ground surface. It's created from some survey data and some contours from maps and so on. We also have imported some soil data here, and it's a mix of 3D and 2D data. So we get these break lines here. It's 3D data, and it's got some kind of border around it here. Then we have some other areas which has only a border around it. And when it comes to the rock data, it's the same here. We get a mix of 2D and 3D data. So we got boreholes in this area. And we get some areas where we know the rock is really close to the ground in a small area here. We could also put these on top of each other just to see how they interact. So I will take the rock data here and just drag that on top of the soil data here. So we see that we have the rock data in this area and that area, and it's overlaid by some soil layer here. So let's start with creating a soil layer for this data here, this 3D data we got from the vegetation soil. So I go to the soil layer and press the modeling tab and go for subsurface. And I call this vegetation surveyed, like this. Then we can select the features by using the dynamic query, or I can just choose on screen here, select object. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I just drag a window around this, and as you see now there is some other features also that is included in this, but we don't have to care about that because we will also use this outer boundary functionality. So I select this closed boundary as an outer boundary for this. And then we just say what kind of material is this. And this is forest topsoil, as it's called, vegetation. Add that one. And we can also set the classification of it. It could be plant residues, for example. Then we can press finish. And this is ready now. So we can just drag that onto screen or just press view in 3D. And we see here this layer that is created like this. In the next case, we will take this area here, where we have some farmland, which we know is 30 centimeters of topsoil inside there. So what I do here is that we will create soil layer again, create a subsurface, and we call this topsoil 30 centimeter. And then instead of creating or using features in the model, I choose a surface to follow, which is this ground surface. I go into my model here, and we use this collection we have created since before. It's called active ground surface. And then we say how much vertical offset we're going to do. We will do a minus 0.30 centimeter. And then we yet again use this outer boundary functionality. We select this boundary here. We say that this should also be topsoil. And it should be some material of it as well. Let's say that it should be organic material. And then we press finish. As we see now, if we drag both those onto screen, we can see them here. We have this one, and we have the other one up here. So we see this green one. So that's how to create soil layers. And now we're going to also have a look on how to create the rock model as well. And we do it almost in the same way. First we start with this small area where we get a small rock interpreted from an orthophoto or something that here the rock is really close to the ground surface. So we create a subsurface here, and we call this rock close to ground, to be really clear about what we mean. And then we use this method, surface to follow, and we add our ground surface here, and we can lower this 5 centimeters or something, so it's just close below the ground. It's always good to get a small distance between the ground and the model. And then also we use again this outer boundary and use the inner one here. I will come back to later why we have these outer boundaries as well, but we will only use that one. Then we set this now to soil number 5. And that is because when we have a rock model inside Quadri, it always handles all surfaces that is below ground as the bottom surface of the layer, which means that the rock is at the same time it's the top of the rock below everything. It's also the bottom of the soil above the rock. So in this case, we can handle, as you see, we have soil 1, soil 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can, if we want later on in this project, add more layers. So that's why we always set the rock as soil number 5. So I will use that. And then I just classify the surface to be of bedrock. See there. Then press finish. And this means now that we can drag that one in here as well, or we can do like this. We see that we have this small rock model here. Then we also get this area here. We can go up like this, and you see that we up here has some kind of 3D data. So we're gonna create one more rock surface from this one. So we press subsurface, and I call this rock surveyed. And then instead of follow a surface, I will use real 3D data. So we go in here and I can select on screen yet again, just drag a window around it like this. And then I use the outer boundary, select, and select the inner of these two boundaries here, like this. And then it's the same. I will name this soil number 5 and classify it as bedrock. And then we press finish again. And if we then go out and just drag this one into the same picture here, you see that we get this rock model up here as well. We can also drag those onto screen here, and there we see this area with rock and this small area with rock here as well.